Hi guys, my name is Michael. Welcome back. So in this video, I'd like to bring a few things to your attention. And the first thing I want to talk about is the uniqueness of crypto. Now, when you take a look at crypto, one of the unique things about crypto is the fact that it has a low barrier to entry. Do you understand? When you think about previous investment vehicles, right, before crypto, think about stocks, think about bonds, think about real estate, or even private credit, what you will understand is that those investment vehicles have a high barrier to entry. So if you're the $20 a day investor or the $20 a week investor, right, it's almost impossible for you to get a return on investment, do you get, without spending a long period of time in those areas. In fact, in some of those vehicles, you cannot even get in. Think about real estate, right? If you're a $20 a week investor, that is out of your reach. But with crypto, right, financial inclusion comes into play here, right? The average Joe, the $20 a week investor, the $1 million a week investor, everybody can participate. And that is the beauty about crypto, financial inclusion. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 opportunities. These are low budget opportunities that, if you're somebody that is the $20 a week investor, you should be looking at these opportunities out there, because what you will get is that these opportunities will help you stretch your dollars, right? Because a lot of people come into the crypto space and you hear, projects like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, XLM, and you're thinking about, like, if you put $20 into Ethereum, right, and Ethereum doubles, do you get? It might not make a lot of sense for you, right? Because for those projects to go up 100%, it takes a lot of firepower, right? But the projects that I'm going to share with you, right, at the moment, they are quite low. Now, I'm not just sharing these projects with you because they are cheap. I am sharing them because they are cheap and they have, huge upside potential. That's why I'm sharing them with you. Do you get? And so if you're the $20 a week investor, you'll be able to stretch your dollars further with these projects that I'm going to share with you. Now, because I'm going to be mentioning tokens in this presentation, it's important for me to state that nothing that I say in this video should be constituted as financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. Before I start mentioning the tokens, I want to just give you an overview of what is going on in the crypto space. As you guys know, I've talked about the fact that we have come into something called the era of coin. We are transitioning from what we know as TradFi to this new model of finance, people call DeFi, right? So there's going to be a lot of changes. Everything we know about money, everything we know about payments, everything we know about banking really is going to change in the next couple of years. So a lot of companies are going to be participating in this change. Do you get? That is underway, right? So there are going to be a lot of projects that are going to be instrumental in the new financial system. Do you get? And talk about XRP, XLM, and all those things. Those tokens are beautiful. But if you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of resource to deploy into crypto, you might be thinking about it, rather than put my $20 in XRP and get 9 tokens, right? I might instead put that $20 in one of the projects I'm going to talk about and get more tokens for my dollar. Do you get? So that is the whole concept of why I am doing this video. Now, the first project I want to talk to you about is a project called SHX. Now, this project is a very interesting one. You guys know, if you've been following XRP, or if you're a member of the XRP community or XLM community, SHX is it's not new to you, right? They are trying to transform the whole payment process between merchants and consumer, ACH, so many things you get. And this is not an exhaustive overview of this project. I'm just putting them on your radar so that you can go and do your own due diligence. But interestingly about this project, it has connections to Ripple, it has connections to Stellar Lumens. Do you get? And you can see the founder and the co-founder both were employees of Stellar and Ripple at some point. So these projects have some sort of relationship with Ripple, with XRP, and that is very important because, as you guys know, XRP is trying to do a lot in the global financial space, and so projects like SHX are going to be well positioned to take advantage of the transformation that is underway. Think about how merchants are paid today. There's a lot of bottlenecks, right? But with SHX Stronghold, they hope to straighten out those things. And the most important thing about this is that this project is currently below a cent right now. So if you deploy $20 into SHX, you're going to get back a lot of SHX tokens. And SHX is a deflationary token, so there's only 100 billion tokens available that will ever exist and the transaction also bond tokens as well. So it's important to understand what is going on there. So this is one that you should have on your radar. If you're somebody that has, if you're the $20 a week or $20 a day investor, you should be looking at SHX because it's cheap right now and it has a huge potential for the future. The next one I want to talk about now is Velo. Velo, simply put, this is the XRP for South Asia, right? Does similar function like XRP, cross-border settlements, and all those beautiful things. Now, Velo is currently below 1 cent at the moment, as you can see, 2 zeros and 6, right? So I consider it to be really cheap. So again, if you're the low budget investor, you should be taking a look at Velo. One of the unique things about Velo, again, it has this whole stellar Ripple connection. As you can see there, Jed McCaleb is on the advisory board of this company. And one of the things you will notice about this company, it doesn't have a CEO. So it just tells you who is running things behind the scenes. And if you're someone that's in the membership group, I've told you about Jed McCaleb, right? And how he is part of the architects of this whole crypto space that we are seeing at the moment. So Velo is a very interesting project, purposely built for Southeast Asia, right? Although it can serve the whole the globe, but that's their focus at the moment, and it does similar things to XRP, cross-border settlement, RWA, DeFi, PayFi, all those beautiful things. So Velo is one of those cheap tokens that still has a huge upside potential. Do you get, like I said, is below 1 cent. So your $20 investment into Velo is going to give you a lot of tokens back, if I can put it that way. Now, the third one that I want to talk about is Onyx XCN, right? And this one is, it's a massive project. A lot of the problems that some of these crypto projects are trying to solve is they are not yet a problem, if I can put it that way. If you think about Onyx, right, you have to go deep into the future to understand what they're trying to do here. Do you get, with this particular project? Now, a lot of people might come to Onyx and look at it and say, what are they trying to do? Some of these things are not even an issue right now. But this is a very futuristic project. They are trying to unify a lot of things. And when we think about unifying liquidity pools, which is going to be very important for lending and borrowing, Onyx is onto something here. Now, so this is one that, even though it's cheap, right, I'm not expecting a return on investment very quickly, because this is one you're going to have to give time to mature, in my own opinion, right? You're going to have to give it time to mature, but it's a very cheap project with huge upside potential, currently below 1 cent as well. So again, if you're the $20 investor, $20 a day or $20 a week or $20 a month investor, this is one of the projects you should be looking at. Again, Onyx is a deflationary token. The token XCN is deflationary. Only around 68 billion tokens will ever exist. So this is very, this is a very good project that you need to take a look at. The next one I want to talk about is Zebec. Now, Zebec is a very interesting project. As you guys know, we are coming into a different, when people talk about financial transition, I always say that it's not just finance that is transitioning. We are coming into a new world. You get, a lot of things about to change. The way we work, the way we play, the way we love, so many things are changing. You get, not just finance, right? And so Zebec is one of those projects that is well positioned. You get, to capture the changing workspace, or the changing payroll. How I put it, the changing workspace. If you think about what is happening in the world today, we are going into something called a borderless world. So an employer in the United States can have an employee in Kenya, can have an employee. So you can be an employer with 10 employees, and those 10 employees are in different parts of the world. If you think about how are you going to, pay those employees, do you get, without facing bottlenecks of FX changes and all these things, right? Zebec sits in the middle of that. It's going to make payroll smooth. So when you think about global a global payroll system, right? Zebec is going to remove the bottlenecks for employers to pay employees no matter where they are in the world. So I'm just trying to simplify it. It goes more than that, but I'm just trying to simplify it. When you take a look at platforms like Upwork, platforms like Fiverr, platforms like People Per Hour, these platforms have to pay people from different parts of the world. Think about integrating Zebec into that whole system, and things just become a lot smoother. Also, one thing that a lot of people do not understand, right? In the future, what we know as this monthly payment cycle is going to change, right? With machines, with AI, with robotics, all these things coming online, we are going to move to pay per second, pay per minute, and the current payroll systems in the global in the world cannot handle that type of payment, micro payments, right? So in the future, it's going to be micro payments. Your employer is going to pay you by the hour. They're going to pay you by the minute. They're going to pay you by the second, right? All these PCM, per calendar month is going to be a thing of the past. Those are some of the changes that are going to come into play in the future. And that is why if you're someone that is in this space, don't just think about crypto. Don't just think about finance. How we work is going to change. Do you get? You can be with an employer but only work 3 hours a day. You can be with a company but you only work 6 hours a day. It's this all this whole weekend. It's those things are going to be blurred out. Do you get? You can choose how you work, when you work, and there's going to be a payroll system that can manage that effectively. Do you get? And so that is where Zebec sits. At the moment, Zebec is below 1 cent. I consider this to be a very interesting project. So if you're somebody who has low, do not have a lot of money to deploy into crypto projects, take a look at Zebec. Very interesting concept. A lot of their products are going to be useful for the borderless economy that is coming online shortly. So take a look at Zebec. Like I said, very cheap but huge upside potential. Also, Zebec is a deflationary token as well. There's only 100 billion tokens that will ever exist. So that is a good thing. The last one that I want to share with you is XPR. Now, XPR is more complicated to understand because XPR is part of a, suite of, products, for Metallicus, right? If you think about the transition that we are currently in, like I said, a lot of things are going to change. Payments, money, banking, a lot of things are going to change. So what XPR and Metallicus as a whole are trying to do is to help banks transition to Web3, to make that transition a lot smoother, right? When you think about, going to a bank today, you go to a bank, you do your KYC, the bank assigns you an account number and all these things. Now, in the DeFi world, all those things are very complicated. We all know the length of wallet addresses, right? If you go and open a new XRP wallet, your wallet address is going to be really long, right? So those things have to be more user-friendly. Those things have to follow a particular type of process. And I believe that Metallicus, in my own opinion, are creating a suite of projects to help banks and credit union, all those credit society transition to this new economy or new financial system easily. So in my opinion, you see I place Metallicus in competition with systems like Finacle or Temenos, those guys that provide core banking system where the bank is able to do things like loans and everything in one platform. Do you get? So something like that currently does not exist for Web3. So I think that is what Metallicus is trying to build. Like I said, this is my own understanding just by studying this. Do you get what I'm saying? So this is a very, it's going to be a huge project. You get if you think about what they're trying to do, right, they are the only ones that are going to be in this space. When you think about Porterfice forces, if you only look at that as an investment, this is entering into this space has a very high barrier, right? This is not something you can just build. This is not cross-border, this is not something you can just build on your own, right? So I believe that they are going to be the only ones in this space. And when you think about the dominance of Temenos and Finacle in traditional banking, right, think about Metallicus in that same position, in the front-running position in Web3. So this is going to be a very great project to watch. XPR sits at the core of the Metallicus ecosystem. I believe that this project is going to do well in the future. There's a lot of upside potential for XPR. Again, XPR is below 1 cent. It's something that you should be looking at if you're somebody that has a very has little money to invest into crypto. You should be looking at XPR as a potential candidate for investment. Anyway, guys, I think that's all 5 of them. Like I said, go back to them. I've talked about Stronghold, SHX, talked about Velo, talked about XCN, Onyx, talked about Zebec, ZBCN, talked about XPR. All these projects are available on, you know, the popular platform. I think apart from XPR, which is just, I think it's available on KuCoin. The rest, you should find them on Kraken. You should find them on, you know, maybe Coinbase for some, and all those kind of things. So just do your own research, and you'll be able to find where to buy those tokens. So thank you so much for listening. Like I said, you know, those are projects that you can, you know, investigate and invest in if you know, once you're done doing your own due diligence. But thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. And also, if you want to get access to my exclusive content, please consider joining the membership group here on YouTube or on Patreon. It's $4.99 a month. And I share a lot of content that I do not put public in the membership group. Anyway, guys, I hope this has been useful for you guys. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye for now.